But I've had a pretty relaxed weekend. I made some chicken stock with a bunch of bones and a bunch. I've been keeping vegetable trimmings as well for whenever I make stock, so I can just throw it all in the pressure cooker and make a very, very delicious broth very easily.
Ooh, that sounds pretty good. I've been wanting to make a chicken broth for a while now, but I need to collect some bones.
Well, it's easy when you go to Sam's Club and get the $5 rotisserie chicken.
And then you just eat it in the bathtub.
No. You eat it over the sink, Cooper. Come on.
Okay. You're civilized.
Yes. But then you have all those bones, and it takes two bones, and then, or two chickens worth of bones rather, and then you're good to go.
Does sound pretty good. You can use it to make a nice chicken noodle soup.
I used it to make a vegetable soup.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Does sound pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
Nice. Like I said, it was pretty mellow for me this weekend.
Yeah.
Did my taxes, so that's always fun.
Wow, that's early.
I like to get it out of the way.
I don't even know if I've gotten all my forms yet. I need to do that.
No, I just got in my form, so let's get it out of the way.
Because mine's going to be a bit more complicated this year.
Yeah, I guess so. Mine was very straightforward.
Mine.
So yours will probably be less so.
So, because I need to check. I don't even think I've gotten one of the W-2s yet.
Hey, well, I'm sure you'll figure it out. Just talk to the government. Let them know what's going on. Be like, hey, let's give me a little lenience this year. And they'll go, oh, all right, champ.
Maybe someday we'll just be told how much we owe or are getting back.
No, it's a lot more fun to make you have to work for it.
I'm not sure fun is the word I would use to describe that.
A lot more stressful?
Yeah. Yeah, that's accurate.
But no. Beyond that, just did some plan for our trip coming up.
Yep.
So.
Yep, I've been meaning to thank you for doing so much of that. After Hawaii, I was not in the mood to do that again. And you've got a little bit of experience.
As long as you guys are willing to give feedback if necessary.
Yeah, no, I'm just giving a thumbs up from the corner.
Just okay, whatever.
Yep, looks good to me.
Well, you want to jump into the album proper?
Sure, we can go on to it. If I can find the correct tab again. There we go. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Audio Shop Podcast. This week we listened to Milky Way by Chocolate Milk. And not to be confused with last week where we listened to Hot Chocolate by Hot Chocolate. Different album, different band.
But similar genres.
Yes, although this one is more disco than funk. Although it does have quite a bit of funk in it as well.
No, not released too far apart, I believe. Hot Chocolate was released in 75. This was 79.
Yeah, somewhere about there.
So certainly not too far off. But yeah, we're going to be listening to Milky Way by Chocolate Milk. So Chocolate Milk was a band formed in 1974 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Kind of after the emergence of Kool and the Gang, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Kind of those more, I guess, early 70s disco bands that obviously still have a lot of popularity nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
It was an 8-piece band. I'm not going to name every member, but...
Oh, come on. You don't want to name every single member?
I mean, I could have Frank Richard on the vocals.
I was just kidding. Oh. I didn't do that. I didn't do that for Hot Chocolate.
Okay. But they actually did some kind of live band performances on some albums. They recorded with Paul McCartney, signed with RCA Records, and then they released like 8 albums, like in a very short span. Where they got some hit singles, like this song "Action Speaks Louder Than Words." Um, and then obviously they kind of stuck with the disco theme into the '80s.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, they were
Who would
pretty
have thought?
short-lived. Oh, they actually were a pretty short-lived band. They broke up in '83, so only together for about 9 years, basically because the waning popularity of disco and like
Oh.
some personnel changes. Um, so yeah, hey, they saw disco was on the way out and took a knee. So
Fair enough. I mean, they certainly did quite good with just this second studio album.
so this is their second album released in '76. Um, and yeah, with that we can jump right into it if you're ready, Sam.
Sure thing. Jumping into it with track number 1.
Track number 1, "Save the Last Dance," which I would say is a very this quintessential disco right here.
Yes.
It's a dance song about dancing.
Yeah.
That's always a bonus point.
If you're gonna be dancing to the song, you might as well be listening to them talking about dancing. And it starts off with flute and bongos in a disco song, and yeah, I'm on board.
Oh yeah, maybe this is part of the consequence of having a 8-piece band. But the instrumentation's pretty great throughout, or at least pretty varied.
Yeah, it varied, and at no time, at least I felt, that it did become overbearing.
Because, like you said, it's got the bongos, of course. It's got the flute. A pretty good standard disco vocals, I would say.
Yeah, it does some good building too. You know, the sax comes in halfway through as the main voice.
And yes, yeah, the brass that kind of pops in at the 2-minute point is pretty good as well.
Quality throughout. And then in the last minute we get some cowbell. So I was very happy to see the first track on this album, even though, you know, nine song album, 29 minutes. It's a tight one, but there's good building.
Yeah. This is not by no means a very long album. I guess that's a consequence of releasing like an album a year.
Yeah.
But yeah, even on this song, it's not doesn't have too much song progression, right? It kind of sticks to its chorus for the most part, but it's a fun one.
There's some progression in the instrumentals, but yes, the vocals are quite repetitive, but it is meant to be a dance piece.
Right.
And there's not really focus on the vocals. They're just kind of in the mix with everything else.
Yeah, but it's a pretty strong opener for a disco album.
Jump into track number 2 then, if you're ready, Coop.
Yeah, track number 2, "Hurry Down Sunset." The other topic of any disco song, which is sexy.
There's more of a vocal focus on this one with the kind of subdued instrumentals to start, but once that chorus hits, it hits like a truck.
Oh yeah, it's got that kind of brass lead into it, and it's got this very like, smooth, tasteful, groovy instrumentation that kind of has this backing and backing piano and brass. Ooh, it's very nice.
Mm-hmm. There's also that shimmering guitar line, which I don't know how to describe it other than shimmering. They have some kind of filter on it, but it's just, ooh, it's beautiful.
And I also like the vocal delivery on the chorus here.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of has it's a little more mellow, a little more sentimental.
And also, the brass is used here as kind of a duet voice for the vocals, which I quite enjoyed. I always like when you've got those weird juxtapositions.
And it even has like a kind of an extended like piano solo on the back end.
I will say that piano breakdown's a bit sparse at the beginning, but it kind of earns the quiet moment. And once the trumpet comes in, along with the piano, it's a lot better. But just that initial like first 30 seconds, I was like, you dropped a bit too much out there.
I think it kind of builds itself back up though. In a good way.
And then I think the bass really shines in the last few minutes of the song. It was there the whole time, but I didn't really start noticing it until the end. I was like, "Ooh, yeah, okay, this is bumping."
Oh yeah. The bass throughout this album isn't super. I wouldn't say super noticeable, or at least not as much of a focus as you would typically think on like some more heavier funk cuts. Um,
Hmm.
Maybe it's a consequence of with the brass and the piano and everything that goes on that it kind of gets shouldered out. But yeah, it comes a little bit here on the end.
We can jump to the next track if you're ready. That's all
Yeah,
I had
sure. Track
for
number
this one.
3. You're the one.
If I can type, come on.
You doing okay there?
Yeah, I'm just failing at typing the song track. This one is very much more funk than disco, it felt.
Oh yeah, it had some serious funk at the beginning. I was just talking earlier about the bass not really being that prevalent, but it is pretty prevalent on this song.
Yes, in this one it is, yeah. And then around like the 2:30 mark, we get a heavy rock guitar solo, which
Yeah, that was pretty surprising to me. Like it's like an actual like legit guitar solo. Not that was new to the 70s.
no, but it doesn't. Listening to it, you don't feel like it'll fit, but then it does.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, I don't recall too many guitar solos in disco songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a real nice guitar solo. And of course, it has kind of this repeating brass backing throughout the song and like these kind of stacked vocals, kind of doing a repeated vocal passage.
And the brass just blows it out of the water once again. I will continue to sing the brass's praise for the whole the whole song, or for the whole album. It is quite good.
Yeah, I mean it's excellent brass, and it pairs like you said surprisingly well with the guitar solos.
And I don't know what they did to the guitar, but they put some kind of filter on it, and it does not fit at all with the song, but it works.
They're thinking in 4D here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean I could take or leave the vocal passages, but otherwise I think it's a pretty good song. And with that, then we can move to track number 4 if you're ready, Sam.
Yeah, track number 4.
Title track, Milky Way.
Yes, which I was not expecting for it to be mainly an instrumental track.
Now, there's like bits and pieces of like vocals, but it's largely instrumental.
But not a whole lot of it.
Yeah, it's like very breathy, like little interludes every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's mostly all there just for instrumentation.
And it is great. And for some reason, for me, I felt like it sounded vaguely familiar, like I had heard it before.
Huh? Maybe. I mean, the big brass kind of funk sound that goes throughout it. I mean, I can't think of anything in particular. Maybe something from Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Maybe I don't. I was also just thinking maybe I've heard the song before, but I don't know how I would have.
I gotta say, Milky Way or Chocolate Milk isn't a super listened to band.
No.
I did like that like bloopy space synth solo that came in at like the 1 minute mark.
Mm-hmm. That synth solo is great. It kind of mimics the sound of a theremin, which gives it a very space feeling.
Right, like the Milky Way, Sam. Space.
Oh, I get it. I thought they were talking about the chocolate bar.
Oh well, that would make sense. They were chocolate milk. Yeah, no, I like it. It's like a nice little spacey reprieve. I do wish it was 31 seconds longer though. But
why 31? Oh, I see. Okay, I gotcha.
But all shucks,
Sadly, you're never going to get another 31 seconds of Milky Way.
Nope. Well, I guess for that case, so it doesn't move on to the next track then.
Well, you forget to mention right at the very end the constant key changes every 30 seconds as it goes, or even shorter.
Oh, that's true. It has very quick key changes at the end, which I mean, I always like a key change. So.
Yeah, and they just keep changing the keys even as they're fading out. It's great.
Which I respect. Like they're just ascending off into space.
But now we can jump to track number 5.
Track number 5, Paradise.
Another heavy dance number.
Yes, with some bongos just going off in the background.
And the synth and brass all coming straight out the gate. The bongos are only in the left ear, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite a fan of all the instrumentation throughout this album, and it's mixed pretty well too, considering obviously we got some pretty disparate elements throughout.
And we've got some Bee Gees-esque backing choirs as well.
Some falsetto vocals.
It is falsetto, but it's very specifically reminded me of the Bee Gees.
Yeah, and maybe that's what they were going for here.
Yeah.
Not that, the Bee Gees are a bad thing. Who doesn't like some Bee Gees?
I like the Bee Gees. And this one, I would say it definitely is a simpler song concept, and it just stays within its welcome. It doesn't stick around too long.
Yeah, I'll say that about any of the songs. I mean, like you said, it's a pretty tight album. So once they're done with an idea, they're on to the next song, right? Yeah, I mean, it also has a little nice brass outro, I suppose.
Yeah.
With some vocals, so that's very nice.
Overall, a very nice tight song. Jumping to track 6, if you're ready, Coop.
Track 6, Groove City. Which, it do be grooving.
It do. And definitely more vocal focus on this one.
Yes, a lot more on the vocals with a lot more of a kind of a breezy instrumentation backing.
And to go along with the breezy, they bring the flute back just for this one song.
Oh yeah, which pairs well with the kind of the, I guess, more dramatic vocal delivery.
The thing that was really interesting about this one was as the song goes on, more and more gets stripped away until there's basically nothing left at the end. It was very interesting.
Yeah, it kind of mellows its way out.
Which is weird for something called Groove City. It wasn't super groovy.
It really has a groove, but not groovy.
Which, when you call it Groove City, that's what I think of.
Well, maybe that's their version of groove.
Fair.
Well, then we can move to track number 7 then. If you're ready, Sam.
I am.
Which is Say Won't Ya.
This one's a little simple for me. The guitar loop's a little short, and the vocal delivery, while very good, is a bit repetitive, and it's a bit long.
I actually was thinking something very similar. The instrumentation is a little scarcer on this one. And it doesn't have like Groove City's kind of better vocal performance to back it up.
I mean, we do get some nice vocal breakdown with the brass stings are great. And the vocal stacking that they do on this one with the bass vocals, which don't show up anywhere else, are just amazing. But I don't know. It just we don't. It's not got that je ne sais quoi, It just goes on for a bit too long, and there's not enough going on. I mean, you'd think with every other song they'd pull a couple more instruments in, but no.
No, I think this demonstrates how a disco song can do less, right? It's like it's a little danceable, it's fine, but it kind of missing a little bit of that passion, right, in the back.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not great.
Right, very mellow, or maybe milk toast is a better word.
Yes, I get it, because they're chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk toast.
Jumping to track number 8, if you're ready, Coop.
Chocolate milk toast. Oh yeah, track number 8, Doc.
And they introduced something here that they decided, actually, this is pretty good. We're going to use it again later. The warble on the choir, which was an interesting effect. And another effect I'm not sure I agreed with was the horse trotting noise in the left ear.
Horse trotting?
It was kind of the way they were playing the drums. They were playing it like it was a horse galloping. like da 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 da. Maybe not
Uh,
triplets. I can't remember what it is now.
I wouldn't call it a horse gallop.
It's
Maybe
it's the same rhythm you do with coconuts whenever you're faking a galloping
yeah,
horse.
maybe it's like maybe a little gallopy, but
That kind of stuck out to me.
I quite like this song.
Oh yeah, it's good.
It's the song that I have in my rotation for a while. It's got a pretty funny core concept of
Yeah,
it's like a little love song about a guy going to a doctor. Where he's like, "Hey, what's wrong with the doctor's like, you're in love, fella."
he's like, no, there's something actually wrong with me. What's wrong with me?
Now I'm diagnosing you with love.
I really enjoy the chorus when he says "doc" and there's that whole sting vocally and instrumentally. That's such a fun effect.
Yeah. The lyrics are a little more like mellow, and then obviously when it hits that dock, it kind of bursts into the chorus. So it's kind of a fun back and forth there.
It is. It's really fun. I enjoy it quite a bit. Now the ending, I did not like that.
What did you not like about the ending?
Just that very end. I can't. Was it the like quick fall off or?
Oh, when it goes like this little echo effect.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The echo. I couldn't remember what it was on this one. Yeah. The echo was not good. That just kind of was like, ooh, okay, yeah, don't do that. That was my instant reaction.
Yeah, it's not like my favorite. It's an interesting way to end a song.
I think it's interesting.
I guess they could have done a fade out, but
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just a single sting. You don't need to do that echo. It just kind of it felt off for the vibe the song was giving. I was like, ooh, that doesn't fit. It stuck out like a sore thumb.
That takes us then here to our last song of the album.
Well, songs are strong. I said 9 tracks. It's really 8.1.
Yeah, this one's Milky Way parentheses reprise, but it's like a 31-second song. And it's really just a reprise of that little last spacey bit of the song Milky Way.
Yes, with the warble vocal effect from the choir vocals on Doc. It's I don't know. It just sounds a little bitty. I appreciate ending on a reprise. Bitty. Okay, I appreciate ending on a reprise, but just the way it's made, just kind of, it's like that's not what I would have done. But whatever.
I think it's a fine little ending.
Yeah, it just the audio quality wasn't the best, which might be.
But it's also just like a fun little stinger on the end. Yeah. So.
At least it didn't end with the end of Doc. That would have been bad. I'm glad they didn't do that.
But that does take us to the end of this album.
Yeah, very quickly. It's a short album.
It's really, basically 8 tracks.
Yeah.
Less than 30 minutes. So they get in, they get out.
Mm-hmm. So Cooper, what would you say your least favorite song is?
I think if we're gonna agree on this one, and I'm gonna say Won't You.
Yep.
So yeah, that one just was lacking all around. It just seemed to lack any hard or interesting instrumentation or vocals. I guess it was fine, right? But it was a very bland kind of song. It had some fun vocal ad-libs, I suppose, but beyond that, it was just a very extremely B-side.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not very good. It's comparing to everything else on the album. It's not very good.
Yeah, but on an album this short and tight, right?
Yeah.
It sticks out like a sore thumb.
Mm-hmm. Well, then what about your favorite?
I'm going to be a little biased here and go with the Doc.
Of course.
Which I just think the song's fun. Fun lead chorus, fun lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it has a little bit of a weird ending, but I just think it's a tight funk song that has a fun story tied to it. So, I'll be sentimental to it. How about yourself?
That's fair. That is a very good song. That might be my number 2, but I have to say "Hurry Down Sunset."
Ooh, that is my number 2.
It is just such a fun song, and I really like what they do with the chorus. I don't know, all around, it's just very, very good structured. It's fun to listen to. You're dancing a little bit in your seat. Overall, just a very fun funk song. A little bit of disco sprinkled on top too.
I agree. Oh, then I guess that means that if you said your favorite and least
Yeah.
favorite, I've said my favorite and least favorite. I guess all that means that's left is the rating.
Yeah, I gotta rate it. Do
I
you
believe, Sam,
remember
it's your turn
my
to do
turn?
the rating
Okay.
system.
Well, quickly before we rate it, we forgot to mention it's the year of the sponge. That's why you see all
Oh,
the
yes, of
sponges on the
course.
screen. But here at Audio Shop, we rate everything like cars because Cooper and I actually own every car in the world.
Yes.
Surprise, surprise, you don't actually have the real title. Whenever you got your car, we snuck in and took it and gave you a printed out one. The insurance is killing us, so we started making this podcast to try and make ends meet.
We are trillions of dollars in debt.
It's, whenever they talk about, global debt, it's mainly Cooper and I.
Yeah,
Who do
it's
we owe
all
it
that they're
to?
banking on.
I don't know, but it's a lot of money. So to continue our obsession with cars, we decided to go with the car-themed music podcast. So the tip top, cream of the crop, we have Showroom, Best of the Best. You're going to take this to your wedding. It's the best songs you've ever heard. Everybody needs to listen to it. And then at the bottom of the barrel, we got Scrapyard. Ooh, yuck. It's actively killing me. Get it away from me. And then high, low, everything in between, depending on our mood. So, Cooper, what would you say Milky Way by Chocolate Milk is?
I mean, I can't help but compare it a little bit to Hot Chocolate,
Yes.
since we reviewed that last week, and they're both kind of within that funk disco realm, released in the 70s.
Definitely a better album than that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Hot Chocolate was probably the more interesting album from like a execution standpoint, right?
True.
They played with some ideas that were, less standard in your disco space than what we see with Chocolate Milk.
Chocolate Milk does use a flute.
That is true. That's true. But I think Chocolate Milk is or Milky Way here as an album is it shows that being standard isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Doing something that's common can be a more enjoyable experience than doing something different not as well.
Yes.
So I'd probably have to give it a slightly higher rating than with like a low like new. Right. It obviously didn't reinvent the wheel. I think like the Bee Gees, Earth, Wind, and Fire, it shows its kind of influences on its sleeve. But it does it in a fun way, in a danceable way. It ticks all the right boxes for a fun funk disco album.
Yeah.
And makes for an enjoyable listen. So certainly something I'd recommend if you're kind of looking for a funk fix and are getting tired of kind of the classics that are always in your rotation.
I have to agree 100%, except I'm going to rate it just a little bit higher as just a standard like new. But I think that's because I needed some disco today. But
and
overall,
this was some good disco.
Yeah, I wanted to see just a little bit more of that weird, like the flute in there, the rock guitar in a funk song, like the heavy rock guitar. Just those little, it's like, ooh, you've got some really interesting things going on there. Do a little bit more of that. I want to see what you can do. You've got a really tight album. You could stretch it to 35 minutes, 40 minutes, put a couple more tracks on, do something experimental. But overall, very good.
There's nothing wrong with the meat and potatoes. Everyone likes the meat and potatoes.
Nope, yeah. So. There's a reason they're popular. Well, disco and meat and potatoes. Not
disco did.
Not Chocolate Milk. I don't think they're super popular.
Well, meat and potatoes certainly outlasted disco, but
I don't know about that.
You don't?
Do people say meat and potatoes aren't dead?
Yeah, because they never died.
Yeah, disco never died. Well, anyway, that's the album for this week. Now we're going to roll on over to the spare tire, which is just whatever else we've been listening to. And I've been doing a little bit of listening this week, Coop.
What have you been listening to, Sam?
Billy Joel released a new single.
He did, and
it was pretty dang good. I need to listen to it a couple more times because I listened to it in the car and my car speakers are shit. So I wanted to hear his voice a little bit better. But he sounds really good. I think that I couldn't tell if there was a twinge of auto-tune. That's why I want to listen with some better headphones and see. But I quite enjoyed the song. And I started listening to the... Paul McCartney just released the underdubbed mixes of Band on the Run, the album. And I was listening to it. I'm like, this doesn't sound any different to me. So I'm not really sure what he did. Granted, again, I was listening on my car speakers, which are shit. So.
Well, I've always been a little hit or miss with Billy Joel myself.
Really?
So maybe there's just something that, like some of his songs I like, but some of them are just very very corny to me.
Don't ask me why. That's a daily listen sometimes for me.
Well, I don't know. Your Uptown Girls.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. I do enjoy it, but that's a once in a while kind of thing, not every time.
So I'm not a huge Billy Joel stan. He has some songs that I think are pretty fun. Obviously, Piano Man's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, a little tweed for my taste.
Wow. Okay. I was also listening to some Tom Petty because my partner hadn't. It's like, who's Tom Petty? I'm like, Tom Petty. Here, let me put some on. As soon as
Wilburys.
This
is first grade stuff.
The reason that got started was because Traveling Wilburys came on and I started lecturing. It's
my god!
So you'll never guess
the
who was
1970s.
You'll never guess who was at the Traveling. And guess who I fucking forgot was in there?
Who?
Bob Dylan.
Well, yeah, he's one of the core members of the Traveling Wilburys.
But I was listing them all off, and I was like, oh yeah, and then Bob Dylan was there too. And I said, I'm not gonna make you listen to any of his stuff, but if Tweeter and the Monkey Man comes on, I'm gonna make you listen to that.
Lord.
Tweeter and the Monkey Man.
What a band! What a super group!
I know. I was telling her I haven't brought myself to listen to Traveling Wilburys Volume 3. Just because they made that after Roy passed away, and I'm like, I don't know if I I don't know. I need to listen to it, but it's just one of those things that I've been putting off.
You just don't have the emotional oomph to get through it.
Well, not that, but just he was such a big part of making the sound of the first album amazing that I've heard some of the songs off of it. I'm like, they're just not as good. Because they had one less supergroup member, and one less member means Bob Dylan has more pull and he can poison it more. But
it's too much of the pie at that point.
Yeah,
anything over 20% is too much Bob.
It's too much. I mean, he was already the singer in way too many of those first album songs. I also love the fact that they called their second album Traveling Wilburys Volume 3.
I mean, that is funny.
It's so stupid. But yeah, I think I'm going to try and listen to it this week. I think I've been putting it off for literal years at this point.
Well, what's the worst could happen?
It extends the life of Bob Dylan.
He gets one more year of life.
That would be horrible.
Nice. Traveling Wilburys is always fun. And Tom Petty as well.
Yeah. But that's what we've been listening to. You got anything else, Coop?
I've just been listening to a lot of Jobim, if I'm being honest. There's some very bossa nova moods. I did listen through the soundtrack of Tekken 1 and 2, which slapped.
Wait, so you've been playing the new game since it came out?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't even gotten the new game.
Okay.
I played Tekken all the time when I was a kid, and the Tekken 2 soundtrack is fire. Great workout music. Gets you completely pumped. But yeah, so yeah, that's what I've been doing. Video game OSTs. That's
I think I'm probably gonna. I've been inches away from re-listening to all of the Tron Legacy soundtrack again, just because of how much I love it. So I'm probably gonna do that again this week as well.
That's a movie about a video game.
It is, yes, with music that is much better than it has any right of being.
Well, yeah, I think that's it for the week.
Yeah, that's our show. If you've liked what you've heard, it's a very quick one this week.
Well, it's a quick album. Right? Our show links tend to correlate with the length of the album. So.
Yes. If you've liked what you heard, you want to listen to some more, you can scroll down our Twitch page and click the picture of Jeff Lynn. He's the guy with the aviators on. That'll take you to YouTube, where almost all the past episodes are. And if you're on YouTube, there's a link in the description that'll take you to our Twitch, where we're live almost every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Are you going to be around next weekend, Cooper?
Maybe. We can talk about it.
Okay.
But we'll let you know at Twitter. at Audio Shop Pod. That's POD. We'll let you know when we're going live and what we're listening to.
Because everybody uses Twitter.
No, more in the Mastodon.
Maybe. Remains to be seen. Depending on when you're listening to this.
In the far future.
Yeah.
When we've all been connected to cyberspace. And everyone uses MySpace again for some reason.
I mean, it was the better site.
And it's coming back, baby.
Anyway, that's all we've got for you this week. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
See you later, shoppies.
See ya.